My name is Aaron Creer. I'm founder of Hattrick Consulting, and we work with Salesforce customers around the world to help them achieve their Salesforce goals. Before we found Elements, most of my customers had zero documentation, which is not uncommon. We would write documents and have basically files attached to cases. That was the only real documentation that we were implementing at the time, which can be very difficult to find a specific case from 3 years ago and remember where that documentation sits. Every new project that I start, if it's not a brand new implementation, will always run Elements through that org. So it gives us an idea of how complex it is, what technical debt might be there. And it's a really useful tool as a consultant because it helps me scope that project and actually price it based on the complexity of it. The impact analysis is a great visualization and really helps with that. What really attracted me to Elements was being able to see that documentation in setup on a field or on a flow, not have to go look at a case or a Jira ticket and try and figure out where that documentation lives. Being able to see the complete change history of, who requested this change, what was done, who approved it, having that all right there. It takes out the he said, she said, completely out of any build. It's invaluable. I go to customer orgs that I may not have touched for 6 months and go back and they ask to build something. I'm not going to remember what I built 6 months ago, let alone what somebody else did 3 years ago. So having that all sit right inside of the metadata is huge. One of the metrics that I just use is flat out time savings. Being able to run the impact analysis and determine how complex an org before I walk into it saves me a ton of time. I don't need to do a 2-day discovery session. I can get all of that in a few hours. Being able to access all of the change history and requirements right from setup without having to go anywhere externally saves a ton of time as well. Things I like most about Elements is, like I said, being able to access all the documentation right from the metadata and setup. I love that I can connect it to all of the orgs. I have access to hundreds of orgs between clients, production, sandboxes. So being able to connect all of those and have the metadata tracked throughout the progressions through the environments is huge. I like being able to see, the process diagrams, and the impact analysis is a huge feature. So being able to do all of that within one platform as opposed to a bunch of separate tools is a really key element for me, no pun intended.